Hey, everybody. Nice to see you today. Thank you for joining us for our live on this channel. Nice to see you. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Deb.
How's it going?
It's a good Friday. Happy Friday, everybody.
It is a nice Friday. This is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a week, hasn't it?
It has been a week. For you guys that don't know all the things that we do, we're developing airdrop software. We're developing all kinds of stuff. So nSights is my main project and Deb's main project, but, we're involved in developing lots of software on the blockchain. And so, we do a lot of stuff, but this is our fun. This is our joy, and we're happy to be here on a Friday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I was looking at some of our reports, Doug, and I thought I might like to bring this up. I want to find a coin today that we can go through, maybe do a little analysis on it. And of
Sure.
course, we want to use a coin that we trade on nSight. So I decided to go out to our dashboard and have a look at some of what's been going on. We've
Yeah.
got some,
And so everybody can know this is our admin dashboard, Deb, right? And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so if you're new and you're looking for this dashboard, you're probably not going to find it, but this is where Deb goes out and sees what all our traders are doing.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to see what's going on out there. I was scrolling down, oops, I was looking at our pullback
Hmm.
prediction grids, scrolling down, and I was thinking about Filecoin today. I've not looked at Filecoin in a while,
Hmm.
and I'm wondering if you want to do a little analysis on that
On
coin.
on on open trades are there. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, let's look at open. I was looking there. We've got some, I think
Yeah,
there's
there's
four. We've
five.
got
Oh,
somebody
four.
with four on
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
open
Okay.
trades.
Let's do that.
And I'm watching YouTube. So as soon as we get some folks on our call, then I we can ask the question, what coin would you like us to look at? If we have some time, we'll go ahead and take a look at another coin as well.
Okay. All right. So let's do this. Let's go into uh let me do this. We're building an AI. In fact, this jelly bean guy that you guys see back here is the new AI predictive software that we're building. And we're building a full AI around for trading that will be coming out in, oh, I don't know, a few months sometime. But I've got pieces of that I'm working on. So I'm going to look at social sentiment off over here while we pull that up because I'd like to know.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good point. When looking at a coin, when thinking about trading a coin, it's always good to go look at the charts, right? See what the coin is doing. If the coin has already taken a run, you're probably going to want to look for another coin. Wait for it to come back down, right? If the coin hasn't been moving for a while, thinking about trading it right now might not be a good idea. But going out and looking at social sentiment, gotta see what people are saying about the coin. Because remember, what Doug's always talking about on these calls is trading is just people, right? It's the people are driving the market, and they inevitably do the same thing over and over again. They get
right,
excited about a coin, the price goes up. Somebody doesn't like something that's happening with the coin, suddenly the price starts to go down, right? And you find information looking for social sentiment. What are people saying about the coin? And that's what Doug's
right,
doing right now. It's just having
right,
a look.
right. And so let me go to let me pull up a file here. Let me go to my mid wallet and see. I don't even know if I have file in my mid wallet. Deb, hang on. I don't. Okay, so am I sharing my screen?
Not quite yet. I was just going
All
to remind
right.
you.
Okay.
And while
So,
he's bringing his screen up, it's a good time to remind everybody that we're not financial advisors and trading is risky. So always, make sure you're not trading with money that you can't afford to lose. And past performance is not indicative of future results.
okay. So I went to my mid wallet and all my coins here, guys. So I have 5 pages of coins. But the one thing I wanted to see is if I had Filecoin in my mid wallet yet, and I don't. So I'm just going to go over here to coin page. I'm going to click on file. Whoop, not file, and do a search. And here it is. Okay. And so
Now, for me personally, looking at that data that I could already see on that coin,
Yeah.
it's questionable actually if I want to trade this coin already.
Well, I think and I got that in social sentiment, Deb. It said based on the past few days here, the sentiment on Filecoin is negative based on social activity posted in the past 24 hours.
Aha,
So,
okay.
and that's coming from that. So anyways, let's see here.
All right. So for some reason I'm having trouble finding my live today. Oh, here it is. There we go. Ooh, okay. Turn that down. All right, let's see what we've got. Candace is here, Perry is here, Gary
So
Brennan
does
is
somebody
here.
else have a coin? Let me stop sharing for a second here. And if there's another coin that somebody would like to look at, maybe we can look at that.
Sure. And while we're waiting for them, Doug, if you don't mind pulling that back up and going to the coin page, I want to point out what it was on the coin page that had my spidey sense say, "Ooh,
Okay.
probably not a coin that I'm interested in actually." Without even
Okay.
having to look at social sentiment, I was pretty clear that it's not moving much at this moment. And you can see that right on the coin page.
Okay. And I went through and I connected my wallet here. Let's see here. Let me share. Am I sharing now?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So I'll uh
So looking right there at the 1 hour, the 1 day, and the 7 days are are it's telling me that there just hasn't been a lot of movement on this coin in
right.
the last
So
seven.
so the last hour was down, 2 hours before that was up. Then we have a day, a down day, an up day, a down day, and 7 days, 7 days up, or 7 days down, 7 days up, 7 days down, rolling. So yeah, it's kind of iffy there. So maybe we want to look at a different coin.
Yeah, so Drew mentioned Xano, but I don't think we trade that coin. So it has to be one that we're trading in nSights because we want to show. Perhaps we do. If it's a newer coin, I might not know about it.
Oh, hang on. Let's do something else. I got my screen shared again, right?
No, yeah. Xano is not an option, Drew. If we could have another coin, yes, I can see you. Oh, are you enabling the coin?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm just going to go ahead and enable this. So guys, I don't have the coin in my mid wallet. I'm going to go ahead and enable the coin so it'll show up in my mid wallet here. It goes out, gets the gas fee here. Got to confirm that. So it'll add that.
What I like about this, Doug, is so nSights, as we talked about yesterday, or I'm sorry, the last time we were on and the time before that,
Mm-hmm.
we use mid wallets inside of nSights. But to enable a coin to trade inside of nSights, we need to talk to your MetaMask and we need to get approval from your
Correct.
external wallet, right?
Yeah.
Make sure indeed you want to trade that coin. Withdrawals are the same, deposits, even setting up a grid, you can withdrawals and deposits, adding gas to your account.
Yeah.
Very
So
secure, right?
yeah, so we can touch on that real quick. Again, we have a smart contract, a mid wallet that's connected to your MetaMask, but they don't stay connected all the time. They disconnect once you do whatever functions you need to do. And then the mid wallet is what we trade in so that you don't have to leave your MetaMask wallet open to the world. So it's a little bit more secure. But you can see I added file here now. And so it's here. And if I wanted to trade file, then I could go in and do that. And I can see file on the chart. Now, just because social sentiment is negative isn't a bad thing. I talk about Warren Buffett. He loves to buy things when things are very negative, or he says when there's blood in the street, he likes to buy. So if there's blood in the street, there's going to be negative social sentiment. So negative social sentiment in itself isn't bad. But where are we in the market to look at that trade? And I haven't looked at files, so we'll look at file a little bit. And I'm going to go to, in fact, I'm going to let's go to Trading View here. I have file here. So let's open up this in TradingView. And I want to look at daily, see where I'm at. You can see I'm in a range. I'm near probably the bottom. If I take the wick into consideration, I'm not at the bottom area. I'm probably in the 50 percentile, which is the GAN box. So I'm at the 618 from the top to the bottom. Let's look at it this way. Okay. So I'm below the just below the 382. About, I probably hit the 50 percentile here. So I'm in the top half of the overall range. And that's on dailies. If I really look at where the last wicks held, I'm at the 618, so I'm kind of in that. I got to realize if I take a trade here, there is more room to the downside. That's not a bad thing for us because of our cost averaging and the things that we have to work with. In fact, I like to potentially set up a trade and let it drop deeper, make sure I'm getting and buying as many coins as I can before it turns and takes off and runs. So Deb, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
And negative social sentiment, again, isn't necessarily bad because, there's going to be a lot of fear in the market if the coin is dropped. As long as you go out and do some analysis, try to understand the news, and that's what our new AI is going to do, is going to help understand what is that social sentiment, what is that news that may be driving it. Is it really news based? Is there a strong fundamental that's causing that negative social sentiment, or is it just people are scared because the market's dropping? That's really different, right?
Right.
If I have news that's really driving the negative social sentiment, that may make me change my mind at where I want to get in.
Yeah.
But if it's just fear in the market, I love fear in the market.
Sure. Well, I'm super happy if somebody just gets really scared about Bitcoin and gets it down to $6,000, right? Fear in the market's
Yeah,
a
you're not
terrible
going to let
social
go of that,
sentiment.
are you?
I'm all in.
You're not
So
going to let
yeah.
go of that 6,000.
Oh, someday. I know, I know. I don't know how to let it go, Doug. I don't know how to let it go.
All
But with
right.
this coin, so here's something. If I had a grid already set up on this coin,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at this nice big drop. It becomes a nice big drop if I've already in the coin. I'm trading this grid. I'm excited about this nice big drop right here, and I'm
Right.
excited about the up pressure that we're seeing there from the big down. So
Yeah.
it's for me personally when I'm thinking about, is there a new coin that I'd like to trade? Um, One that's down is definitely one that would be on my list.
Right. Yeah.
It just didn't seem from the first numbers that we were seeing, it didn't seem like it was having a whole lot of up and down movement to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Looking at the chart now, it it doesn't look as bad as it looked when we first looked at that coin and seeing the daily trend, the hourly trend, um, and the last 7 days trend.
So I'm asking, is there any negative news on file, and see if we can find any fundamentals,
Yeah.
right, that is causing it to drive down. Uh, so we know, see, unregistered 2000.
Perry Vance telling me I need a time machine to get to my 6,000. I think he's right.
I don't know the date on this. Let me ask the date on this, that grayscales um, thing. What is the date on this? We're really excited about the AI that we're developing, guys, because we really want it specifically around trading. It'll start off to be around crypto trading at first, but ultimately we'll do it on other like Forex and other things too.
Yeah.
I don't see anything super current. I see grayscale back in 2021. I see some 2022 negative stuff, but don't have anything current. So unless I spent the time to really dig, I couldn't find anything more current. But what from a technical standpoint, not a fundamental standpoint, and that's Deb, what you're referring to. Technically, I'm on a current base. We had a drop, a nice rejection. I love rejection candles. We'll look at rejection here in TradingView in a second. But I love rejection candles. I love this because the market tried to go down, it rejected up, kind of creates a demand area or a demand zone for me. And I know demand zones are done many different ways, but I really love demand zones when I define, a rejection followed by some up pressure. That really confirms that there is a demand here, or at least the ability to fight a battle of buyers and sellers to try to form a base. Now, if the buyers lose, then what is my potential to my next barrier? About 18% down to this range. Okay, not a big deal. Down to this range, I'm about 48%. And if I look on TradingView, where I'm really looking at longer term, right? If I go out to weekly here real quick, I can see my deep base here is down to here. So how far? What is my potential additional cost average or buy-in points at? I got this one on a weekly, 18%. Next weekly is the bottom, 48%. I don't have anything that I know of deeper than this in the recent years, right? So 48%, I'm okay with that, guys. I'm okay if I have to cost average down 48% because if I get lucky enough to get down here, I'm buying a lot more tokens down here at a deep base. It's going to cost average this one down. Just gives me the ability to manage and make more money if I don't go in too heavy, too deep, too fast at a high point.
Sure.
So I got to think through what I'm doing because I got to realize I have potential opportunity to buy more tokens. Now, if I get in here and it takes off, then I change, right? It's a different plan. But the current plan is I'm in a down market. Technically, I have two more barriers deeper and I have opportunities. So I have to recognize those.
Right.
So
I
why
don't
don't
know,
we?
Doug. You enabled I say we go ahead and set this one up.
Well,
Let's see.
it's my money, right?
It's your money. Let's throw your money at this and see what happens.
You gotta love her, guys. Gotta love her.
Well, you know
Okay.
me. Once you put one in, I'm usually right behind you.
I know. I know. All right. Well, let's do a pullback grid. Okay. So I'm going to create a grid here. I'm going to do a pullback. Says I have 615 BUSD in my account. And again, I said I don't want to go in too heavy. So I want to be able to add to the trade if it goes deeper. So I'm going to pledge in this little test account. Remember, guys, this is my training test account that I do crazy stuff like this with you guys so that we can learn and have fun together. So I'm going to do $100. I'm going to do 2 pullbacks. That means each pullback is going to be $50. I'm going to set a profit, and I didn't look at that. So I got TradingView up here. Let's do this first. I want to go back to daily. And I want to measure my ranges, and I want to spend a little time understanding if I get stuck in a channel, what does the channel look like? And that range is about, excuse me, from candle bodies, not wicks. I want to be a little conservative, about 9 to 10%.
On that one, you're back in February.
Yeah. And I want to take this big run out. I want to look at, what was happening in this range
Okay.
here. Okay. And I want to I usually look at about 3, that's about 20. And if I look at this one, take the wicks out about 20, 24. And I get back down into this channel, and I'm just looking at the psychology of the market. What do traders do when things happen? Because again, what they've done in the past, our minds don't change, right? So the same fear, same greed, same levels continue to exist throughout the market. Now, when things begin to really take off, that's when we begin to shift our expectations. But we're back down after big down. We know that it's negative, so there's fear in the market. So people are going to be probably more cautious of getting out in profit quicker and not thinking that they're setting up for these massive runs right away. So I'm going to approach it that way.
So Doug,
And go ahead.
since you have trained me how to trade,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want to make sure. So when I get to the level where I'm looking at profitability or profit, how much is the market moving? I always change it back to hourly. I look at it daily, but then I always zoom in on hourly so that I can really see what is it doing throughout the
Sure.
day.
Yeah, you want to see that?
I'm curious, and
Yeah,
uh,
so one approach is more like a not quite a day trader, right? Because we're looking at the daily or the hourly ranges, right? When we start looking at the dailies, we're approaching it a little bit more like a swing trader or a little longer term trader. So you can do hourly and look at the ranges too so we take swing lows to swing highs, okay? So we take the swing low, swing high, about 13%, and take it to the bodies. We're at about 10. So about that 9% range we were seeing. Okay. And we try to find additional moves. So I want to go back before the big up run if I have candles back that far. Sometimes the charts don't have candles back that far. So you got to be a little bit, if it doesn't, then you got to do your best. Okay. So I'm zeroing in before this big up move.
I
This
feel
is
like I'm a
probably
pioneer when the candles don't go back as far as I want them to. Then I feel like I'm
uh,
making this happen. I'm the pioneer.
man, you've been at it for a while. Yeah. And this is an accumulation phase. And if we have a big down, we may be going into an accumulation phase again. Just, again, kind of the psychology of the market. About 3% there. So not a whole lot. And that's indicative of a tight accumulation phase 4 there. And I think we'll probably find a lot of the same swing low to swing high, about 3. And swing low here to swing high here, about 6. So now the question is how do I want to approach this, right? If I want, and the way that nSights is set up, we automatically include all the fees in the profit. So if you're looking at a 7% move, I wouldn't set a 7% target in my target here because fees are going to be included. So the blockchain fees, any slippage fees, anything that is going on in the market that can keep me from getting the profit I want. So if I say 7% here, the system is going to make sure that I get a full 7%, including fees. So when I look at the range, I got to be a little bit careful. So on the daily, those shorter ranges were between 9 and 10%. On the hourly, we were really between 3 and 7%. I don't want to do anything for 3%. I'm not interested in that. And so I'm going to go in between those two and I'm going to set 5%. So, give me 5% plus my fees, and, get me out in that profit. Okay. Now, if the market is really running, right, things like what are called impact fees nSights will go out and try to sell my 5%, give me my 5%. But if the impact fees are too high, they go over the amount of fees that I'm going to allow it to close at, it won't close. It'll allow that run to keep happening. So sometimes when we set 5%, we end up getting 15 or 20 if the market really takes off. So, sometimes we've designed the system to use fees sometimes in our favor so that it helps us stay when the market's really being driven, liquidity gets tight, impact fees get high. We don't try to get out and take a hit on those impact fees. We just let the market run up, let it settle down. As soon as it settles down, those impact fees go away. Now our 5% becomes 15 or 20%. We see that a lot. So, all right, I'm going to set five,
and
Deb.
I think it's a good idea. Sorry to interrupt, but while we're talking about fees, I think it's a good idea to remind everybody that these are blockchain fees. So set by the blockchain. We use BSC. Not by us. So these are not fees nSights is charging you, it's blockchain fees. Always included in the profit, which is great because for those of us who were trading before nSights, we were trading, we were getting profit. You go out to Pancake Swap and you trade your coins and you never kind of know what your profitability is when you're selling them. There's no information. You just know you bought them and then you sold them. And even when it looks like you made 5% or what, it didn't count the fees. And so with nSights, we always include them. And I think that's brilliant.
Well, and I know both you and I have had this experience where we've closed out a trade that's saying it's 5 or 10% in profit. And we hit the sell button and we go look and we made zero money. In fact, we lost all our money on that trade because the impact fees were 99%.
Yeah, that's a bummer, right?
Yeah. Yes, I remember.
A real bummer.
I remember the first time that happened. We go, hey, what's going on here? So, and also, guys, on here when you're setting up, you don't have to go back out to the other charts. There is a little mini chart here to help you kind of figure some of those things out. If you want to use the chart, the drawing tools are right here. So you can actually do it from right here too. So you don't have to leave this setup. So, all right, let's hit next. Now here's where I decide, Deb, whether we want to be aggressive, standard, conservative, at market, custom, what do I want to do? And for everybody to understand, at market means that I believe I'm on a barrier and I want to buy right now. And I don't want to miss this trade. I don't think it's going to go any deeper, or if it does go deeper, I don't care. I just don't want to miss this trade. So I want to do it at market. Aggressive means I think it might go down a little bit, about 3.5% or so. Again, that's looking at the charts, trying to come up with some analysis, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. About 3.5%. Standard's about 6.5%. Conservative is just a little under 10, 9.5 plus percent. And then custom is whatever I would want to set it at as a pullback. This is the first pullback, not the consecutive pullbacks after this, because we want the ability to handle that first pullback different than the others, because again, I may be at a barrier and if I set up conservative, that's like 10% down, that may never happen. So the first trade, I can set it up different than others. So
and that makes perfect sense because we're looking at the chart. We know exactly where the coin is now. We've already thought about where it is in the market now, about how much it might drop. You have all of that in your mind right now after the analysis that you've done. So setting up, being able to set that first one, not thinking about what the market actually does, right? Because we don't know what the market's going to do in the next days and weeks or hours. And we have an idea right now what it's doing. So it's easier to say, hey, it's going up right now. I might want to go ahead and get into this trade, be a little bit more aggressive, or maybe I'm seeing maybe I'm seeing something else and I might want to wait a little bit longer. It's different on the first trade, and I love that we built that in.
Yeah, and if I was trading your money, I'd get in right now. But I'm not.
Yeah, at market. Right. If you were trading my money, you wouldn't even be looking at the chart.
I wouldn't even be. I'd just be doing it.
The button.
Right. So I can see I'm up against the current barriers. Okay. If I was doing market and this had already pulled down and it was at these barriers and I was getting some up pressure volume against these barriers, or maybe the last candle that just closed was this one and I have this nice wick, then, and I'm sitting right here, then yeah, maybe I'd do at market, but I'm not going to do at market because I'm up against some barriers and I have a little range to pull back, but really not really tough to get 3.5 down to here. I'd really have to hit the bottom again. So got to really think about what I want to do. Now, let me explain. If I do 3.5 and it comes down a little bit and then it takes off and runs, only thing that's going to happen, guys, is that the first trade that I do here is going to do this. Let's say we actually ended up going up from here, and now I get a little pullback, and I set my first trade at 3.5. It's going to do 3.5 from the new high. Right. It's not going to have to come back down here. So our system moves dynamically with the market, as we have taught and told everybody. And this is one of the ways. So even if I miss the trade here and it goes up a little bit, it breaks this barrier, gives me a pullback, what do I have? Well, I have a little bit more confirmation that the market wants to go up. I get a pullback and then I get into the trade. So I'm still okay with that. I don't mind confirmation trades. I don't mind if it goes up, and I don't mind if it comes down and gives me a trade here. Either way, I'm going to get into this trade. The question is how do I want to get into this trade? Okay. And so I have that option here. So I'm going to set custom just for the fun of it, because I saw when I measured this about 3%, not 3.5. So just for teaching and learning purposes, I'm going to set custom on the first one. I know aggressive is 3.5. I'm just going to set 3. Okay. Now, after that, what do I want to do? I'm going to do, because I'm close, I know I'm about 45% to the low bottom and about 18% to that next barrier that we looked at, right? Standard is 6.5. I'm in a down market. Conservative is just under 10. 10 would get me in close to that 18, be a little bit aggressive towards that barrier, but trying to make sure I got in. So I'm going to set conservative. Now, if the market turns and runs and does something different, I could come in and change this, right? But from where I'm at right now, Deb, I think conservative with an aggressive first entry kind of feels good.
Yeah, definitely. And just to reiterate, it's that first buy, when it says first buy percentage, this is a pullback grid. So it's saying, how far do you want the market to pull back before we take your first trade? And Doug said, I'd like it to pull back 3%. When it does, nSights is going to get that signal and it's going to go ahead and make that trade for you.
Yeah. And if it goes up from here, makes that new high, pulls back 3%, it'll get me in there.
Yes. So wherever it starts pulling back from is right. what that first buy percentage is for. Mm-hmm.
I can click more. I can see the numbers where it says those trades are going to take. So I can study those, look at those. I can hit next here. ACA, I'm going to enable auto cost averaging. Okay. And here I have a couple options. I because of that 18% down and then the 45% down, I'm going to do a trail buy, right? I'm going to say that I'm going to set a range that I want it to begin to trail the market down. So if the market's dropping hard, it'll keep trailing that down to find the best potential buy for me. And I know 18% is that range where it might start trailing down. Okay. So I'm going to set this at 15%. And the trail difference is how far away from that 15% do I want it to trail? And so for people that don't understand that, What that means is that when the market's dropping down, and let's say, let me actually measure this so you guys can see real numbers and this will make sense to you. Okay, I'm going to use this. Okay, and let's say that it started, and let's say we got in right here. Okay, and so it starts dropping and it's looking for the next entry at 15%. Let me tighten this up a little bit. At 15%, it's going to qualify the first rule, rule one. Get it close. That's close enough. It's going to qualify rule one because I said 15%. And then what it's going to do based on what I set this number at, 1% or 2%, it's going to set the trail up. That trail, let's say I set 1%, okay? Well, let's say 2% because it's easier. Let's just say, oh, come on. Let's just say I set it up at 2% so you'll be able to see it. Okay. I set the trail up 2%. There. So the market comes down, hits the 15. If it bounces up from here and hits the trail, I'm in. But as soon as it drops 2%, 2 more percent to 18, okay, to 18, market drops 2, and I won't do the numbers exactly. This will drop 2. Now, from that point on, if it bounces up and hits it, I'm in. Now, this is the critical difference in how this works, and you really need to understand this. Every time it ticks down from this point on, tick, let's call it tick down, right? This will tick down. It no longer has to drop 2%. Ticks down, this drops. Ticks down, now the market's here. This ticks down. It's now going tick by tick down, not following 2%. And it stays following that. So it allows the system to be more aggressive at moving us down so we get closer to that turnaround point than if we kept dropping 2%. Because if we did that, we could drop 1.5% and not move and then come all the way back up here to hit it, which would be 3.5%. Didn't want that, right? So every time it ticks down, I want it to tick down with it. So now when it gets here, we're going to be closer to the market. We're going to be real time to getting into this trade. So when you set this is how far behind that initial 15. I'm going to leave it at 1. I'm also going to trade the same amount of my initial setups. I set $100 and I did 2 trades. That's $50 each. My buys are going to be $50 each. And I'm only going to do 2 of them. So what does that do? I gave $100 initially. I gave 2 cost averages per trade. That's another $100 each. So I'm going to have potentially $300 in this trade. Okay. Now I can go a little bit more fancy. If I wanted to set this up, maybe my first trade at $35, right? I can now set up my second trade so that gets deeper. And money management's everything to us, guys. Gets deeper. Remember, I was going to do 50, but now when it gets deeper, I'm going to do 65. So the first trade it does on the cost average is a little bit lighter than my per trade, which was $50 right here. It's 35. But if the market does dive deeper, I'm going to get my best buy with the most money at that deeper price, bringing my cost averages down. I'm going to do it this way so we can learn and see. And so it's automatically set up to take the first trade at 35 on cost average and the second trade on cost average at 65. Love
Perfect.
it.
And I want to be really clear with people. So we spend a lot of time talking about that first buy and second buy on your grid. That is completely separate from auto cost averaging, which is ACA. ACA is if the market drops, just drops, and Doug is saying if it drops 15%, then I want you to take an additional trade and I want you to add it to that first trade it's already taken. I want you to add, or you change it to 35. I want you to add $35 at that 15% deep price to that original trade. So now you've got $50 plus 35, you got $85 in that first trade, and it's weighted cost average. So it's taking you get more coins for your money the lower the price goes, right? Now you changed it to 35. 35 at that price might get you around the same amount of tokens as your $50 one did. But then if it drops, so remember he has two, he said if it drops then an additional 15%. So now you're 30% lower in the market from where that first trade was taken. It's going to now take a $65 trade, which is going to give you even more tokens. So you're buying more tokens the lower it goes. This is auto cost average is in place. It's a money management tool that works for you if something happens that you weren't expecting, which is the market to suddenly, take these deep drops. It's brilliant. And what it does to that first trade that it's adding to is it drops that cost average down so that you don't have to come back up 30% to get out in profit, because it's dropped that, it's averaged it all together. It drops it down so you get out of that trade sooner when the market drops. Our money management tools, Doug, are phenomenal. And
they're fun.
This is one of the best.
Well, and remember, Deb, we have the trailing buy on that too. So it could even be deeper, right? So
exactly. The trail buy. And guys, that's brand new. We just added this functionality in the last month or so. And it's brilliant. I love that it just follows it down. You could have a 60% drop. We have seen coins that have just suddenly the news comes out and something goes wrong and they drop quick. Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Look
it
at
happens.
here. There it is.
And as long as you've got your ACA set up and when you're using that trailing buy too, man, you can really get a lot of tokens when it drops like that. It can turn something that a lot of people see as negative into the most exciting day ever.
Yeah.
You've got your tool set up.
Well, one thing I know for certain in crypto, it can drop. So
it drops. It drops.
but we love that though. I mean, if you have the right money management, guys, that's not a bad thing.
And if you're a clearance shopper.
Yeah, like Deb, Deb loves to buy the bottom, man.
Buy the bottom, right?
Okay, let's hit next here. We can see everything that we want here is hitting next here. We have 2FA set up on ours, guys, so that somebody can't hack into your system and set up trades that you don't want. I do have my phone today, Deb. And so this is where you confirm everything that you want. And you can see my transaction fees are on both, on buy and sell. I'm calculating my fees. And when I say I want this much profit, it's going to make sure I net that much profit. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. And
brilliant.
Let's do this here.
And by the way, while he's entering his 2FA, one thing I want to mention is what Doug just went through without the commentary will take you about 2 minutes to set up, if that.
Yep.
And that's if you stop and go back and look at the charts. Like, it is literally so simple.
Okay, pullback added.
Success.
Let it refresh here.
You got to look in your pending.
Yeah, it's in. So, see, Deb, thank you. So I come here immediately and going, where's my trades? Remember, I set up my first trade to be a pullback. So it's in pending. So
got to pull back.
So it's now waiting for that 3% pullback, right? And once it gets that, it'll execute and it'll move over to live.
Hey, how far back has it pulled back so far? Go look at pending.
I'm at 0.
It hasn't moved.
It hasn't moved.
Hasn't moved in the last 30 seconds since he
I'm at
hit that button.
0. Yeah. And this is one time that you want to see the negative there for sure.
Yes.
You want to
You
see
want to
it
see it
going.
go negative so you can get in.
Let's see here. Still a 0. Okay.
Now, our dynamic grids would have taken the trade immediately, right?
Right.
Because the
Right.
dynamic grid, you're setting up your zones, how you want to see, when you want to see those trades get taken. And now you can set it at a custom price, Doug. You can
Right.
say, well, we're at 6.034 right now, but I don't want you to take that until it gets down to 6.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Or it goes to 5.5, right? You can
Yeah.
do that and it'll sit in pending for you.
Right.
But a lot of times when you set that up, you can just choose it. People choose it at market price because they
Right.
see that they want in right now, and boom, there's your trade.
And that really is kind of the dynamic setup. But we did give the flexibility on dynamic, at least on the first trade, to set a custom price that you want to enter at.
Yeah.
So that works that way. And dynamic grids, when we're low in the market and the market's ranging, dynamic grid is just killer. Right.
Yeah.
In a running market where you don't want to get stuck at the top, potentially the pullback grid works phenomenal. So both of them have their place. I'm like Deb. I lean a little bit more towards a pullback grid because I'm by nature, I'm a contrarian, I guess. I'm a pullback trader. But yeah, both of them were phenomenal. So, all right. How did we do, Deb?
I think we did
I know that
great.
was a long one. I apologize. Hopefully everybody got something out of that.
Yeah, we came on just to do a quick call today, didn't we?
We did. You got me talking. It's her fault.
The
Okay.
commentary is the best part.
Oh, anyways.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Doug. That was fantastic. And guys, if you in fact you should please go find us on Discord. We'll put the link out on this live so that you can in the comments so that you can see where you can find us on Discord and come trade with us. We're having a blast and we want to show you how it's done.
Yep.
So you can you can you can sign up to trade, and once you're inside, you can get as much support as you need. We'll help you set up those first grids. You'll be able to come to, tomorrow morning we have a call, Doug.
We have a live call
We
every
have a live
Saturday.
call tomorrow morning with our community. So get in Discord. The information is in there, and come join us on our call tomorrow so you can see some more fun stuff that we'll be going over.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really like the Saturdays where people are stuck. They ask questions and we can really help them. So that Saturdays are fun for me too.
Yeah,
So
Saturdays are great.
yeah,
Awesome. All right. So our next live call then is going to be on Monday, sometime in the morning, guys, anywhere from 9 in the morning until 5
5 at
o'clock at
night.
night. Sometime in the morning there.
And the reason is for that, guys, is seriously, we are developing all kinds of software, right? Like the AI software, and like we have a DFY done for you airdrop system we're developing. We have a lot of people that are buying airdrop packages that we're doing and stuff. So, we develop a lot of software. Developing software is my background. It's Deb's background. Trading is also my background. Been trading for over 20 years. Did Forex for many years. Guest speaker on Ninja Trader many, many, many times. So, those are our two passions, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, Deb.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's a
So,
lot of fun. Having a
all
blast. All right.
right.
Well, we'll see you all then tomorrow morning. If not, then we'll see you Monday on our live. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Doug.